Hey there hunters, and welcome back to the Gunners Guild. I'm going to start something different and take a closer look at my speedruns in Sunbreak and try to break down everything step by step to give you an idea of what I'm thinking and what I'm doing for my runs. Some of these will be short, as the runs are short, but some of these will be pretty lengthy. I will be playing the run normally first, and then we'll go back and replay it with a breakdown. Hopefully this little extra bit of insight helps players connect the dots between playing casually and more optimally, and help bring the idea across of what I'm spouting in all my guides and video updates and kind of putting them into practice. Anyway, today we're going to be starting with Light Bowgun versus Kushala Daora, which I had done back in base Sunbreak before any of the updates. So this was before armor augments. As the run is playing, I'm just going to go over some of the initial setup info. First is that Kushala has some bad hit zones for gunners, so don't really have very many options for MO to bring to this hunt. Elemental and Elemental Pierce is just awful, as Kushala doesn't have the Elementals hit zones like it did back in World. It's more raw focused now. And it is focused on the front legs, which honestly wouldn't be so bad, except that those are mostly blocked out during its Black Wind aura mode, and you either have to shoot its little toes and kind of get it outside the aura, or shoot its head, which you have a really bad hit zone against. So because of that, I am opting to use spread emos for Kushala. This way I can shoot its toes and be point blank and have more control over getting more damage on that Black Aura mode. Pierce isn't exactly a good option for Kushala anymore either. It's not really so much that the Pierce is bad, it's just that Kushala has no good weak spots except its arms, and you're only going to get like 1 or 2 ticks on that, so it's like you're going to be doing little damage like all the time. And we do want to focus our damage on those arms because that's how we can get our staggers to keep Kushala from moving so much. So spread's really the only good option, though I could see a case for normals. The next big idea about this fight is the air dunk. Kushala can get toppled out of the air with an air stagger from the feet, which is the entire loop for this run. But this is the only way I could actually manage to keep Kushala down, because it does not get air dunked with exhaust ammo, so that was unfortunately a dead end. So for the most part, this entire run is managing feet hit zones, as they have individual stagger thresholds and you can do both of them at the same time, and you'll see what I mean. And then the last main issue with this fight is the limp and zone transition, which is really a hard wall for the fight. You cannot stop limps and rise, so you need to kill it before it can limp away, which is kind of hard for an Elder Dragon. Which means that in order to keep him from limping, you need to get a topple so you can get the last chunks of damage in before it can actually bounce out of here. And it limps at like 5000 HP, so it's kind of a lot, so stopping the limp is not easy, especially for a gunner. And then Kushala also always transitions zones at 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the fight, so if you can't kill it before then, you basically just lost your run, because he's going to dip on out of there. And with that out of the way, let's go step by step into this hunt. First is that I'm starting with obviously the move to the Buddy Recon nearest to Kushala spawn. I determine where I want to fight monsters based on the time it takes me to engage the monster, which is why the timer overlay is super helpful. I can like start managing times based on like zone locations. But I also need to pick a location that doesn't have monsters invading the area at 2.5 minutes into the hunt, which is a scripted thing that happens on damn near every map, and it's super annoying. So this area out here by this little ice cave is the only option. The bad part about this area is that it's full of like all these little transitional tunnels, and Kushala gets pushed around a ton with the saggers. And a lot of the times I'll lose run because I push Kushala down these tunnels, which are transition zones, and then it will make Kushala reset its position and run back to the middle of the map, which takes me another, 15-20 seconds, to sheath and run back to it. So it's just a dead run at that point. So when I first engaged Kushala here, I did mess up the roar. I was supposed to use counter mines, but it just didn't come out. Rise inputs are pretty awful at times. But you'll notice that I only shoot his right paw 4 times, and then I start hitting the head. Because I know that 5 hits with spread is what it takes to cross that stagger threshold. So I hold on to that leg as long as I can. I shoot 4 just so I know the next shot is going to cause a stagger. This way, when Kushala goes up in the air, I can just tap that prepped area once more, cause the stagger, which causes Kushala to get dunked out of the air. This is the whole core component of this fight. Now once it's on the ground, I stop counting and I just keep shooting. And then that way when it gets up, I just keep shooting until it staggers one more time, which resets the threshold, and then I start counting again from there. So after this dunk and his airburst attack, you see I shoot his left arm 4 times. And then I switch over to the other side. This way, I can keep dumping ammo into his right arm and know that I have that left one primed and ready to go, so when it goes airborne again, I can just hit that left arm and cause the stagger, which causes him to fall. Then, when it was on the ground this time, you can actually shoot each pot individually, which I tried splitting my shots on. If you're that close with spreads, you can actually weave your shots in and out. So I kind of divvied up my damage and split it across both his arms. And so this is why when he gets up here and then tries to jump away, one random shot knocks it down. It was actually kind of a lucky shot, to be honest. I wasn't sure that would have even reached, but thankfully we have ballistics, which increases our spread range. Now, Black Wind Aura is the worst part of this fight. If we had a good spread light bowgun with poison ammo, it would be much easier to deal with because then you could just shoot Kushala with poison and remove the aura, but we don't have that. So I tried shooting its paws when it first went into the air, but kind of failed. Black Wind kind of blocks a lot of shots, unfortunately, and that's the one thing that hurts gunners a lot in this fight. But the defining moment in this run was getting that stagger on the head here in the Black Wind phase. I was shooting its head earlier just to not damage the arms, but it does help build the threshold on its head, because it takes 2 head staggers to topple Kushala, and 2 staggers to topple Kushala out of Black Wind Aura. And so this is the only reason why Kushala stayed down when I knocked it out of the air. It would normally just get back up if you shoot the arm while it's in Black Wind mode. It'll topple out of the air but just stand right back up, which is super annoying. But since I got the head stagger first, that was the one of the 2 staggers I needed, and the arm poke being the second, to actually keep it on the ground. So since Kushala got dunked out of the air on the ground, this gave me enough time to actually do enough damage to it so that when it got up, I could just break the aura right away, which did lose me a little bit of time since I countermined away from it, but trust me, it's the best case scenario. Then another kind of lucky dunk, to be honest, once it got up and went to the air again. Ballistics range again is just too good. Now when Kushala gets up here, I do start to panic because I know if I keep pushing it down this tunnel, it's going to reset positions and then just kill the run. So I'm purposely trying to move around it and push Kushala back into the area with, the staggers, because every stagger pushes him a little bit. And then when I saw that he had a blue skull, I began to panic, because I know the only way I could stop Kushala from limping was with a dunk or a head topple. I can't really control when it dunks, I have to wait for it to go in the air, and a head topple was just not happening. Thankfully, it decided to do a couple more attacks before limping away, which gave me enough time to actually stagger it and finish it off. Monsters tend to queue up attacks and will perform them before moving on to the next action, which is why you can deal enough damage to monsters to get them to enrage, but then they do like 1 or 2 attacks first. It's because their AI already queued up those attacks. Same goes for limps and such. They could have the limp queued up, but it's got to finish its other attacks first. So I was actually surprised that I actually got the kill here. But that was the Kushala run with light bowgun, TA rules. Sorta, because I use mods and stuff. But this can definitely go sub 3 now with all the super OP armor and gear that we have. I just don't really feel like cutting down my times. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of what I did and why. I'll take a closer look at heavy bowgun versus Malzeno next time. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and good luck out there, hunters.